I have my co-host with me today. Hopefully she will be very kind and not bark. But if she has something to say, I'm sure we'll listen. That being said, I want to talk about why you want multimodal AI. Recently, I was talking about how AI is essentially a brain in the box, and that the startup that I'm at right now is building the neurons to connect it to services. Well, there is a opportunity to make the AI smarter by enhancing its brain. And the way you do that is making it multimodal. Now, multimodal is essentially a very fancy word to have it be able to process data in different forms. Now, most people are familiar with engaging in AI, especially ChatGPT, by talking to it, whereby you say things, it computes the tokens, and then out spews a bunch of other tokens that are computed to match that. Well, that's data in one form, but then there's also data in another. There's visual data, there's audio data, and that data is processed differently, and it needs to be understood and converted into a way that AI can understand. And so that's similar to how our brains have different areas of the brain situated for processing certain things like the visual cortex or the cerebral cortex. And each one of these are essentially taking data and passing it on up to the higher or areas of the brain, and the brain can not only understand what it's seeing and taking in, it could also then compute results based off of the patterns it's observing, etc. So with multimodal AI, you could see this in, say, like GPT Vision, where it's able to understand what it is seeing because it's been trained in that data. You do that with an AI that has neurons, and not only can it see, but it can also act upon. So you could end up with autonomous robots. And in fact, there was a video not too recently where at 10 hertz, which is at 10 cycles per second, a whole bunch of robots were not only sending visual data back to the multimodal AI to decipher what to do next, but it's able to, thanks to its memory, recall the task that it was assigned, recall what it's done up to that point, and issue the instructions at 10 cycles per second, 10 hertz, to these robots to do next things. And that includes charging themselves when they're running low on power. That was picking up packages. That was cooking. That was opening and closing doors. We're not that far away from when multimodal AI really becomes a force that we're all using and expect. So it will no longer be just a large language model that we interact with. It'll be a large multimodal model, or MMM, or LMMM, that we end up engaging with. I cannot wait to see the amount of advancement that will come when we start dealing with large multimodal models, just based off of the previous progress that LLMs had from GPT-2 to 3 to 4, where the amount of stuff that they could accomplish, the amount of logical reasoning that they're able to achieve, exponentially exploded. And that was just with language. Add in the ability to see, and you could have AI understand elements on websites. In fact, our startup already does that, but understand elements on websites, understand elements on programs, and be able to tie these together where you could have a local program that does work locally and then output those results into a report shared online. And that report could be shared with clients or otherwise. I mean, the possibilities that a multimodal language model could bring to the table are incredible. And that even includes cars. If you could hook cars up to AI, so that way they could start better understanding their own real world. They could train off of that data, not act on that data, but train off of that data to be able to make much better driving systems for cars. So instead of just radar assisted lane tracking, we could have much better visual tracking. I mean, there's so many things that a large multimodal AI can do that a single LLM could not do because of its lack of understanding. Well, that's all I have for today. I'll see you in the next episode.